Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We'll be with you shortly here as we get started. Got to get a few things going. Got Pedro Garcia in the house. Good morning, Pedro. What is happening with you?
Hey, brother, how you doing, man? Things are well. Things are
Doing
good.
well, doing well.
Yeah.
What's happening in Pedro land?
We just chilling right now, just hanging out. It's a beautiful day. It's warm for January. It's in the 40s. It's not.
All right, Pedro. Today's topic, like I told people earlier, I hadn't expected you to be on, so I had prepared more of a opinion piece today, and I made this incredible graphic of the IRS. Well, I should say Midjourney made an incredible graphic of IRS and FinCEN, like ghouls, skeletons fighting on the battlefront of the apocalypse over another burning human, and that burning human was you and I. So today's topics are going to be obviously all about Bitcoin, the markets, what's going on, other things that Pedro and I want to talk about. What we're going to be talking about things is so we can clip them out for social media is the new IRS rules and the rules that are being promulgated. I can't say that word properly. Proposed by FinCEN, the Financial Center for Tracking of whatever you want to call it, but they're the people that have gone from an obscure organization to try and track terrorist money into tracking every one of your transactions to ensure that you're complying with the authorities. And so we're going to talk about that and the overreach that's going on. As I like to say, the concept today, for those of you tuning in on the replay that may have fallen victim to my my social media links directing you here after the fact, we're not here to argue the merits or to talk about the details of these laws. Like, there's plenty of forums if you want to argue how many days and this and that and the nuances of law and compliance and assurance and all this type of stuff. There's lots of that going on, and there's wonkety wonk talk all over the place about that. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about what our government and I should say what the people of the United States are allowing to happen via our government in putting we'll just use the word draconian regulations on us for basically surveillance on each other. And so we'll talk about that because it's not right. It's not right. We'll talk about that. But we're, like I said, we're going to talk about it in the macro sense. Like, is this the right direction for our country? Is it the right thing? Is it the right thing for the industry? Is it not the right thing for the industry? But if you want to come in here and argue the nuance of the law, and I might make a mistake about little something, no fire in the comments. Get fired up about what's going on with the country. That's what I want you to get fired up about. But more to the point, let's get fired up about Bitcoin and the markets. Pedro, what is going on with the markets right now?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, we're right now the market is waiting for the release of the ETF for Bitcoin. Right now, you can see it's going. The other day, you literally had a publication that came out and basically said, yeah, they're not going to release it, and then they came back and retracted it. But even though they did say that, you did see a major sell-off in the market, which actually shows to me that, I was looking at, like I was talking about the other day, the CME token, or not token, excuse me, the CME contract, futures contract, and I was mentioning how in this process on Monday you saw a rally up so hard,
right?
And I was talking about how they were literally in the futures contract paying for a premium of it. And I was sitting there going, okay, I think it's going to move. But what scared me was, normally if those guys are going to buy something, they're going to first push it down to push it up, right? And I didn't see that on Monday. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, they're going to drop this. So it was really interesting to see the next day all the FOMO, or excuse me, everybody saying, not everybody saying, but one particular magazine releasing some statements basically saying that, yeah, we think, or not magazine, but institution basically saying that we're going to see a sell-off of a bunch, or basically saying it's not going to go through. So to me, the reason why we're going sideways here is literally just, I'm looking at this going, primarily, they got to wait. We're all pretty much a lot of crypto is going sideways right now, right? We know that a few of these ICP coin was skyrocketing. You had some major coins happening, but now that we're kind of going sideways here and waiting for the ETF, you can see here that it's kind of going sideways there. So there's not much here. We did hit our supply zone up in this level here, the 48,000 mark that I've been talking for a while now, about 2-3 weeks here. So we did the sell off. We're bouncing off the 50 period moving average, and right now we're just seeing, if it gets released next week, I'm pretty positive we're gonna see us blow through the supply zone. If that does happen, I think we'll probably see a sell off first. I think that will be an institutional move, right? They'll see the sell off and then a push up. If not, then I think we're easily gonna go through this supply zone here and most likely hit between maybe 54,000 or even that 59,000 mark area for Bitcoin. So be ready, guys. If we have the sell-off, right, like my area, like I've talked about again, is that 33,000 mark area, 35,000 mark, and the 30,000 mark area of a sell-off for institutions to buy in and then push up. So real interesting.
All right, so to summarize, well, because as usual, I was, I don't know, where is that? Doing something in the background. Okay. Why is that not? There we go. BTC. The line that you have, the band that you have in orange right there. What's the range on that? From 44 to 48,000. This, if you look at the screen. Oh, I can't. Why can't I draw on that? And draw on this one. This band here. These two bands.
Oh yeah. So this is the supply zone. This is the seller zone here. And this right here sits at 48,000 to 45,000.
Yeah, I was just saying that because we can't see the numbers on the screen here. So the lower band is what number? The upper band is?
Yeah, so the lower band.
This is 2 and 1.
Yeah. So the upper band is 48,192.
Yep.
And the lower band is 45,535. So this is off of the BTC USD chart.
All right, so for the people watching, including myself, as it gets closer to the lower band here, the 45,000, what are you looking for it to do? To bounce off that, or is that going to be something that it just zips through?
I'm pretty positive it will probably go shoot up and then come back down and play, and this will become a supply or a demand zone, an area of buyers.
So doing something like that is what the chart is telling you, not what you're telling us to do.
Well, no. So it's more like this. Let me go ahead and just write this out. So there's a few scenarios here. Okay. First scenario that I think what's going to happen, because it's the way the institutions work, is they're going to shoot it up. Okay. They're going to go up. Why aren't you working? Come on. And there you are. All right. That's weird. It's not working there. All right. It's first going to go up.
Yep.
Then it's going to go down here and then push back up. Now, it could be right here at this level where it comes down to.
Yep.
Okay. Right in this level here, preferably at these lower levels, which is in at that 35. Or we are going to come down to that 30,000 area and then shoot up. Right, because many of the institutions need BTC to drop first so they can buy low, so then they can actually make a profit. It's typically what they do, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news.
Right.
That's what I think it's going to be. Now, if I'm wrong, this is probably what's going to happen. Where are we at?
Chuck Jansen says, 2 more rooms to see, then I will be on. Chuck's a doctor making his rounds. And when he gets back to the computer to put in the notes, he turns us on in the background. Love it. Love it. That's dedication.
Thanks, Chuck.
Crypto Mike says, sorry, my dudes thought it was Saturday. I was lounging. Mike, come on. I know Manitoba's a couple of days behind, but it's certainly not one day ahead. Canada. Still don't have my sound effects working, but I like that one.
You're gonna let him get it. Give me 1 second. Why isn't this wanting to why do these things sometimes just pain me?
Welcome,
They
everyone. Please
pain.
like, follow, comment. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it, do it, do it, do it. Now, I'm going to bring this up here real quick. Now, the next part here potentially could happen as well. So it's something to be paying attention to. So when we're sitting right here, we could see it drop a little, okay, then rally hard out of this, come up to here, and then potentially do this right here, and then go like this, okay? That's one of the situations that very much could happen.
I'm guessing that scenario is if the ETFs get announced today, or tomorrow. It'll blast up through 48, and then people will be like, "Time to dump it." The FOMO will kick in to buy, and then the FOMO will kick in to sell.
Yeah. So it's a trading situation that happens. Okay. Now there's another part that could happen, and because this is crypto, okay, and we all know cryptos is nuts. Like it's like the crazy ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, current crazy.
I don't know what you're
girlfriend
talking about.
coming together. So if it gets nuts, it just could do this. Okay, like that is plausible. It's very plausible. All right, just because we all understand how crypto works. So we've got those three things. And then I'm going to give one more. And you're like, Pedro, why so much? Because you need to understand what potentially could happen, right? So, or I could just do this.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. And if that happens, then you're just like, all right, freaking A, the institutions are now here. And if that happens, that would actually really make me like fully realize that the institutions are really here and they're here to stay. Because they will first drop a market so they can take and buy in at a ton. Like it hasn't retested this year. If they're in here, if they've been buying in all year, they want to come back and retest these areas. Like they want a low Bitcoin again so they can recapture and then push it back up. And then like to crush your dreams so that they can build their dream. I am not joking.
It's like the old guys, I'm crushing your head. I'm crushing your head.
Yeah, like
see if you old timers can know that. I bet you Mike knows this. I'm crushing your head. I'm crushing it.
Crushing.
It's an old Canadian humor thing.
So I mean, I say that because that's real, right? And that can happen. So be ready for that, and we'll see what's up. So I'm glad you guys. Yeah, it's hard to be able to gauge because this is a fundamental move here, and it's always harder to trade the fundamentals, in a sense, from my perspective, because I'm not a fundamental guy. That's more of your status, your group.
Well, all right. Well, let's pivot and take a quick look at the DYOR live portfolio. And I got to tell you, this normally happens whenever the market thinks that. Why didn't it change live? See, it should have changed. There we go. I did it again. Now we should be back.
Come on.
There
we are. Woo.
And anytime I get in the market, and I did, as we all know, this is paper trading, but still, we're in the market. Nothing happens. BTC's been moving every day in volume and in price action. And as soon as we started our portfolio, it's been dead, zero. It's traded between 43 and 43,000. Bitcoin's BNB's been moving. And as soon as Crypto Mike forced us to buy it, it doesn't move at all. It's dead. Which usually precipitates, in my cynical view of the world, a depression. The Great Depression shows up as soon as Tom puts the money into it. It just trades. It's like, oh, it's not doing anything, and then everyone says, the rumors out like Kramer, hey, striking's in it, sell, and then everyone's fired and unemployment happens and our country disappears.
Well, I'll put it like this: in all reality, we are in a depression. If people don't realize that because the numbers are been very skewed, and they've really, changed a lot of the parameters. But we are very much in a um, like when we bring on the shadow statistics guy, who
Yep.
actually sit there and look at the real numbers. He will show you like, no, like legitly we are in a depression. This is not a recession.
No, don't get off the deep end like that. It's not obviously not a depression,
No, I'm be like when you look at the numbers,
dude.
like
It's
if
not
you
30% unemployment. Come on, man.
no, it actually is, and this is the reason why is because the current numbers that if they so back in the 1930s they held on to the numbers, so you actually had real numbers, like real numbers. These current numbers, so after I think it's 2 months or if the first month they'll follow, but after I think the first month or second month they stop tracking you.
Right.
And then after that it gets reset to an equilibrium. So when you actually go through and you follow the real numbers back and forth,
Right, but
it's like
the
20.
big difference though is that during an actual depression, you have incredible incredible loss of value of everything in jobs and literally communities. I mean, it's a big difference now. I mean, Wall Street's booming. No one's jumping out the windows. The Wall Street closed at its highs, and everyone is getting huge bonuses and stuff like that. So I can see a hidden recession in the numbers, but I think a hidden depression. Mr. Shadow Statistics might be reading too much into the tea leaves there.
Well, he doesn't. That's what I'm trying to say. He look like you'll see when he comes in, he's going to go over the numbers and go, look, these are the numbers. This is what we see. Like if you look at and listen and so if you look at the Great Depression, all of the Great Depression, all of America wasn't falling apart. Okay, like there were places that were actually doing really well during the Great Depression, right? Depending on what sector you were in and what was actually happening. Um, And in the same sense, I like farming. Like farming didn't fully fall apart. It was just the Midwest that really fell apart for farming.
Right,
The
people
other
still
parts
had to
of the
eat.
world, yeah. And so farming was, and in California and a couple other places was doing really well. So this is important to understand. If you go to a lot of major cities in America, we're talking, it's really bad. Like they can't find jobs.
Well,
like
one of the
Detroit.
reasons why, I mean, we're getting into a societal discussion here, but one of the
Yeah.
reasons
All
is
right.
that the cities have totally eviscerated funding for shelters, for mental health. They put token amounts into drug abuse. In fact, they actually encourage drug abuse by liberalizing drug laws,
Literally.
and not so much the small things, but not prosecuting people for violating laws. And there's a whole societal issue with that. That Chicago, San Francisco, New York, Seattle, Portland, all these places are just failing. All those progressive policies that everyone thought were a good idea are absolutely backfiring. And so I personally believe that that's a policy issue amongst the people in charge of all those cities. That's all the same group right now, and they failed. And they have failed, and it will affect the country for probably 50 years to get themselves out of it. Anyway, let's move on a little bit to the news before we get into the topic of the day and more stuff. I've got a couple of things I had brought up here. As we always like to do, is I always follow Congress and what's going on in Congress because we talk a lot about regulation and politics. And one of the things that happened recently in the U.S. House of Representatives was that there was a change of the guard. If you recall, the Speaker Mike McCarthy was booted, get out, and for a while the House Financial Services Committee chairman Patrick McHenry was what do they call it? The custodian, the temporary House Speaker while the Congress fought about it, and he was doing a great job. He was very pro crypto, pro individual rights, pro everything that we talk about in crypto, for all the good things, he supported. And so we're like, he's going to be the Speaker of the House. It's great. Then he said, I don't want to be the Speaker of the House. They wanted to elect him, and nobody ever does that. Nobody ever says, we want you to be the head guy. And then they go, no, I don't know. I'll just sit back here. He said, no, I want to be in the House and just run the Financial Services Committee so that I can get more done for my agenda. And everyone's like, oh, okay. And then 3 weeks later, he announces that he's not running for re-election. So That was the point. He said, I'm not running for re-election. So everyone's like, oh, great, we lost our champion in Congress. However, Representative, I'm not going to say his name, Ludemeyer, I guess that's how you say it, announces retirement also. But that means there's a new guy coming into the House Financial Services Committee that could run it and do the job that we wanted and keep the Democrats at bay. Or let me rephrase that. Keep the naysayers at bay, the other party, which means that Representative French Hill from Arkansas could take on the chairmanship. And Representative Hill is a champion of crypto rights also, which is a good thing. So that's good. So we might still end up with a little check and balance in Congress about keeping Elizabeth Warren at bay. And then also I had a good story. We've all been talking about ETFs lately. We've done shows on it. We've done everything you can think about talking about it. They could be released today. They could be released tomorrow. They could be released next year. We don't know when. But there's so much news about it that there's other little things sneak through and come through. And how many of you out there have heard of ADRs, American Depository Receipts? Let me bring up the social media thing here. See if I can get some comments on this. American Depository Receipts, ADRs. Anyone? All right, I'll answer it anyway. American Depository Receipts are when a foreign corporation wants to trade their stock in the United States. They can't just bring shares from China or shares from Japan or Germany and give them to the stock exchange or to a clearinghouse here in the U.S. And say, okay, trade these. They have to bring them in and trade them under U.S. law. And they do that via ADRs. And what they do is they bring them in, they put them in a clearinghouse or a custody organization. This one here is called Franklin Pierce. And then Franklin Pierce issues shares or a depository receipt that are fully tradable, fungible, tradable, everything you can think of, at value on a one-to-one basis. And unlike let me back up a little bit. That's for stocks. These guys at Franklin Pierce said, wait a minute. The law doesn't say we can only do this with stocks. The law isn't specific about it at all. He said, we can do this with Bitcoin. And so literally this article right here, all we've been doing is talking about ETFs. And this article goes in and says, hey, we can trade Bitcoin depository receipts in which you either you deposit Bitcoin, a foreign organization does, or Franklin Pierce buys their own and deposits it in their own custody account and then issues shares in that, just like an ETF does. And unlike ETFs, which Gary Gensler can regulate and has been giving the fist on, bam, 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 these are not regulated by the SEC. They're traded on exchanges so that the CFT would regulate the trading of it on the exchange. But the ways it's done, it's already covered. It was set up by either the 1933 or 1934 Securities Act. So they're going to be coming out, and they're behind the door. Will take away some of the ETF thunder, and the reason is that Gensler and crew have said that ETFs need to be traded through cash. So you can't give Bitcoin to an ETF. You can't give Ether. You can't give your house or your car or your kids, charged your, some other asset. You have to go in and out of cash. And so when the ETF buys all this Bitcoin, it stays in that ETF. So when you sell, you say, I'm going to sell my ETF shares. The Bitcoin doesn't leave. It doesn't have to leave. It doesn't come with you. It's stranded there, and they can keep it, and they can, JP Morgan, whoever, can take it out of that ETF fund and put it in their own wallet or do whatever they want with it, but it removes it from the market. With this, you can go in and out of Bitcoin. You can send them Bitcoin. When you sell it, they can send you Bitcoin. And so it's much more widely acceptable for the crypto crowd. Very interesting. I saw that there's a product that we need to watch, and I'm gonna reach out to the Franklin Templeton people and see if they will be so kind to come on our show. But I thought that was really interesting, and should be brought to your guys' attention, because all we do is focus on ETF. You see it all over the social media, but then you gotta, like I said, look around, see what else is out there, and the little things like this come around. because I'm willing to bet that they will be easier to trade and have better liquidity because you can convert it to anything immediately. Interesting. Thought it was some good news about that. Let's see what quickly before we get back to Pedro with talking about some charts. Let's talk. What does Crypto Mike say? Yeah, but some of us think the laws are archaic towards those things. Yes, I agree with that. Agree with you on that, Mike. But the difference is the people selling and creating the crime area for the harder stuff. And even if the harder stuff should be legal, then it should be legal, and there should be ways to monitor that. It shouldn't just be open crime markets and stuff like that, and the police ignoring it because they don't fund the police anymore. Good examples in Chicago. I'm going to use round numbers. Like they used to have 10,000 police officers. Now there's only about 6,500 or something like that. But the budget's the same. And so as the costs go up, they just keep getting rid of officers as they retire. And now there's a lot of times you call 911 and they're like, sorry, we don't have anyone to respond. Imagine that. You call 911, someone's breaking into my house and they're like, sorry. And I'm not making that up. You can listen to it. I listen to the police radio and they're like no cars available. It's amazing. Mike says, true. It's all about the crime. It's not about the what you put in your body. You do what you want with it. But when it affects society at large, then it's a problem. Defund. I'm the other way. I'm the add the budget. Add to the budget. Bring the hurt. Bring the hurt. Bring the hurt.
There's a huge proponent in this aspect of as we're like moving into this period of like. I mean, it's a transition. I mean, we're literally in a global transition in a sense where, the old monarchy, traditional finance is losing power and they're trying their best to hold on. So if they can cause unstable and craziness, they can then be able to come in and reestablish. So I think, it's an interesting thing jumping back to Templeton. I think they would very much be inclined to come on here just simply because I think who we bring on and the types of people we bring on, I think they would be very much be engaged in the communication. What I think, though. So,
I'm sure they want to go on CNBC and Bloomberg and and all those things, but we'll give it a chance here. We will, as they say, we will give it a shot. In fact, I'm on their website right now, finding their media contact. Oh, look at that. They're in every country of the world.
Shocking. I love it.
I mean, it's I didn't realize how big this company was, but it is. They handle individuals, professionals, and institutions, and everything in between.
Definitely. Jumping back to the charts here.
All right.
I was looking at ETH. Or some real world assets here, and so I've been going through and checking out just kind of where they're sitting, and these are the people who are trying to take, houses or cars or paintings and either put a token on them or digitize them, right, where they can sit there and be able to sell them on the blockchain. And it was really interesting to see that these guys have actually just slowly creeping up. Nobody's talking about
what project you got up there?
This is CFG.
CFG.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about CFG.
Well, and I'm doing more research for some of the things I've been looking at them. Like they've been just creeping along and working and getting going. So it's really interesting to sit there and see them. And I think like when we talk about cycle rotation within the markets, right? I think this was going to be a cycle rotation. I was watching Bankless, their roll up for the week, and they brought up this cool little resource. It's called Dune.com crypto narratives, and I actually stole this from them. So if ever we get friends with them or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, I stole it from you. That was a great resource. But for me, what they do is they have a narrative system where you can go through, and as narratives change in crypto, then it's a cycle rotation that money comes flows in and out of things. And so I'm gonna see if we can put this in the show notes here, so you can go through and look through and have fun there. I'm gonna put it in the comment section for us, but we'll also put it down in the show notes for everybody, for you guys to check out. One thing I do like about these guys is that they go through and they really do a good job of like looking at the narrative and what's actually happening. You can see, I was talking about the other day where, you know, you have 2 weeks, 3 weeks rotations where things cycle through. And so you can see here that it talks about the cycling of, and you know, each color or each area is, what's the word I use? It's colorized, right? It's delineated by color. And I totally love this. You can sit there and go, okay, you can see an increase in XYZ over, you know, a week or two. And in that process, you can sit there and just play and watch what's actually happening, who's getting money, what's going on with this. So if you're looking to trade it, or if you're looking to play with these markets, you've got a decent platform that can actually show you where you're looking at, what you should. So if you, let's say you're in a DGen play, right, and you're outside of America, because that would be against the new law, which we're going to go into in just a second. Then what you would want to do is look at this, see what's actually money flow going to, and play a DGen play where you could sit there and say, all right, look, this is what I'm looking at. All right. And, you know, obviously you don't want to put your grandma's life savings in it with yours, but it's something to look at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What's up, Lawton? What's up, Kaching?
Oh, look at us. I've been slacking over here.
Eric.
Good
Yeah.
morning. Good morning.
Eric.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, DYOR troops. Good morning,
Peace in
DYOR live. Yes, ka-ching. Ka-ching. Would have done your sound effect, but it's still broken. Dada Lawton. Yes, welcome to the show. It's the worst Irish accent I've ever done in my life.
Dada Lawton.
Sucks. Hello, DYOR on YouTube. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. I really appreciate it. Yeah, the LinkedIn's comments feeds just don't work as well. They don't work as well, and it's just not as easy to use. He loves our attempt at, and my last name is Herlihy. My family names are Herlihy, O'Shea, O'Gara, Fitzgerald. I mean, come on, man. The family's from the right where Kerry meets Cork, and I can't do a proper accent. Did the SEC just delay the ETFs? I don't know. We've been on the air.
Yeah, we here's the thing. They're not that I don't think they delayed it. I mean, they never said when they were going to come out. We just assumed that they were going to come out with it this week, right? First of the year. You know, we know that there's been a few banks have actually re-met with Congress and the SEC, or not, excuse me, not Congress, but SEC, and they're going over things again, right? So is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think that it's a potential good thing. You know, I don't want to be so quick to say, oh, that's a good thing, right? So it could be, hey, guys,
I don't know, but here on my screen, it's let's see, let me just pull it up here. That's man. I gotta get better at this. Rumor mill goes into overdrive for spot BTF Bitcoin ETF approval on Friday. That's the latest news I can see on the various sites. Although I haven't hit Twitter yet. Searching for anything popular on Twitter is too hard nowadays because all you get is the spam coins and all sorts of other bad stuff. Although Bitcoin Magazine reporting just in ETF issuer told Fox Business SEC is coming hopefully next week. And that was 2 hours ago.
Yeah, so
we'll 4 hours ago.
But the biggest key is this, right? Is that if they do get in, we're going to see some real manipulation. I mean, just the old-fashioned tri-fi movements, right? So, you know, you'll really be able to sit there and see them play. And what I think is interesting is now that they're really getting in, I wonder really how much, because, you know, what happens when you have an infinite system that goes into a finite system, right? I mean, they can print money to get Bitcoin. Right, and if they really start to kill it, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you just the FOMO. You know, these guys are still human. So I could sit there and see them like all of a sudden they're just like put more, right? And all of a sudden, you know, you start to see them playing off each other.
Yeah, Mike, I'm looking at Watcher Guru, and I don't see anything on that. They've Hashdex has released a Bitcoin commercial. I don't know if you can hear that. Hold on, let's see. Let's see if I can feed that into the system here. You should be able to hear that. I bet you can't hear it that well. There we go.
Can you hear it? I don't hear anything. Can you guys hear it?
Oh, you can't hear it, Pedro. Sorry, I didn't feed it to you.
Oh, it's all right. It's all good.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone could hear that. Oh, wait, there we go. I got it. Cash or credit? Nope. Nope, it's not going. All right, I thought I fed that out through the system. Anyway, it's a ETF commercial. How about that?
And it's like it's running on TV or on our
just,
good old friend over here, Twitter
or
X.
It's just on X, and now why is it frozen? That's weird. Oh, bad stuff is happening with my browser. All right, let's head back over here. All right, you're back on the air there, Pedro, with your charts and stuff.
Nice. Yeah. So just to finish off, I really like this. Go check them out. I think you guys will like them. There's a lot of good information that they have, and they kind of open up like a wide variety of like DeFi layer 2, layer 1, layer 3, memes coins, meme coins 1 and 2, layer 2, right? Where all of a sudden it's just because things are becoming very complex, and I almost say that coin market cap isn't keeping up. Like it just is. I love coin market cap. It's simple. It's simple. It's easy. It's kind of straightforward. But there's a lot of categories there that I'm looking for that I can't fully find, and a lot of these other networks out there, I think, have just a bigger range of stuff, or I think a more detailed range of stuff that I can look in and get really deep into it. And so that's why I like doing. It's a really good system. I was poking around today and just enjoying it. So. Yeah, that's in a nutshell. Jumping back to the charts here. I think, seeing these, they really do mirror Bitcoin. Like kind of the top 3 that's actually happening with the real world assets. I think in the future, these are going to be huge. Potentially, in the hundreds of dollars right now, just simply because as they accrue real world assets
what is Clearpool?
It's another world asset entity. Like sitting at 11 cents when their peak back in 2002 was ranging around 275.
Hold on, your thing just dropped here. Hold on 1 second. Why?
On my feed?
No, your feed's here. Your feed is here, but it's not on the screen for some reason. Oh, I know why. I know why. There we go. Sorry,
got it.
Clicking around for some news stories.
Clickaroo. But like a lot of these coins out here are small right now still, right? Like if you consider, and as we all know, these they're small market caps currently. So if we see a huge explosion, I'm not telling you to put in your grandma's and your retirement fund in this, but I'm saying, hey, $100, 200, who knows? It could 10, 20, 30, 40x potentially, because it's just the market cap on it in general is kind of smaller. So that's why I'm looking at these right now. Over the weekend, I'll be playing with those and checking them out, get more in detail. But that's kind of like what I'm looking at right now. Our typical stuff that we're looking at is Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu was looking, as you guys can see here, kind of ugly over the sell-off on Bitcoin, but we've had a stabilization here. So, but the key is we did go underneath the 8-period moving average sitting here. So again, you can see how it came up and it barely came into the previous day's supply, and now we're seeing a kind of a bit of a sell-off. So is this going to continue down? I personally think it probably will, just simply because you have
shib. People thinking the money's.
But here's the thing though, it's not a bad thing. right? It's just areas for you to be able to buy if you're looking to dollar cost average over the next few
Right, but
years.
the money doesn't come back into SHIB as fast as it goes out. So the chart, I mean, obviously what you've got showing right here, the price has been appreciating. But that one, other than those massive pumps that they had, it, people take the money out of that one. They don't. They're not holders.
They're boulders. They roll away. They come and they
They're
go.
boulders, not holders. I like that. Like who was it yesterday that said, "Are we going to use horses to pull our automobiles?" It's one of you guys out there. Yeah, that was good.
That was Derek. That was Darren Lawton. Forgive me. Darren Lawton on what was it, on LinkedIn?
Right.
I
remember.
I was like, that is
genius.
Brilliant. Yeah. Trying to squeeze or trying to encapsulate the crypto market. You're just like, nah, bro. Like, it should go the other way. But hey, I'm partial to that, you know. But so SHIB, obviously, you can see what's kind of going on here. The other one that I wanted to highlight, and again, I'm just impressed with what it was actually going on, what they're doing. They are still kind of above that 8-period moving average, and they're just holding tight, which is our BNB. BNB is holding strong here. I thought we would see a sell-off, but hey, it's holding the coin itself, and so I'm impressed with them. Like, if you look at it, even though today has a large amount of sellers or volume compared to yesterday, and the day's not even over, right? It's holding, and so it's just really interesting to me to sit there and say, are they, is BNB starting to really find its kind of floor here, and are we going to move up to that 400 area mark here at that 398? So it's going to be really interesting to see here. Also, I want to check out Arbitrum. Arbitrum is one of those other ones that have been kind of holding tight. Here you can see it went from the $2 mark. Still, it's above the 8-period moving average, and it's consolidating within the big candle here. So for me, I'm sitting there going like, that is strong. Like, you can see, even though they have quite a bit of selling coming on, people taking profit, it's still at one of those points where it's like, I'm like impressed with them holding above the 8-period moving average. And you see here that even though they had a bunch of sellers step in today, it's not looking bad. So is this basically going to be a time where people are going to see, all right, it's selling off. Do we need to buy as it sells off, right? And then at the end of the day, we see a green candle. I don't know, but I do know that it's holding pretty well with the amount of sellers coming in, right? Obviously, the last few days, we've seen these huge push up where, crypto is pushing up. I honestly think this, and this is where I'm saying, I honestly think it seems like an institutional move here, is that what they do is they'll push it up, they go sideways and wait to build a position, over a period of 3 or 4 days to again push up again. And that potentially could what is going on with Arbitrum. There's a lot of attention Arbitrum. They've got a lot of good stuff going on within them. Their layer 1 and 2 are both solid, so it's really interesting to see as we move forward what's actually going to happen. But to me, I see from an institutional standpoint, it's basing to potentially go up even more. So it's one of those things that if it does sell off back down to these lower levels here, I'm definitely looking to buy it. One last one, and then we'll go on to the next, because this is where I really want to talk about the tax situation. Or do you want to go now, and then we can go?
I need to. Oh, well, look who's said hello here. I need to do a quick sponsor talk when you're done with the next one.
All right, real quick, we're going to talk about CAS. CAS, again, like I said, is consolidating between that 12-cent mark and the 9-cent mark, 10-cent mark here. I do expect us to see if we come down. Now that we have the 89 and 100-day period moving average coming real close now, I want to change my my potential buy-in point.
Welcome, Space Cat. Thank you for listening.
What's up, Space Cat? Good to see you, brother. In this point, I would sit there and say I look kind of now at that 9-cent mark area here instead of that 7-cent mark, just simply because back here we had the 189 playing, but now it's starting to really push up. It potentially could just start to consolidate between that 12 and 9 cent, 10 cent area. So be prepared. If we start to see real volume step in at these levels, then expect probably a push up again to another maybe all-time high. But it all depends on the volume that comes and that
Hold
are
on,
based on
gotta
moving
let the
average.
dog out here. Go with it for a second.
All right, no worries. Yeah, that just simply because as the market comes down, these are institutional buying points, that 100 and 200 period moving average. But also, you also have another. And where is my 200? I should have my 200. I have my 400, but not my 200. What's going on with y'all? What's going on? Here we go. What's going on? There we are. Here's my 200. I don't understand why it was. You have your 200 here sitting. As you can see here, since we've been playing, that's why I look at, because I look at these are institutional buying points where they look at the 100, the 200, right? Or the 400 when it really comes down into an area of buys. I'll look and I'm waiting to see 100 and a 400 crossover, or a sell off to a 200 or 100 period moving average, right? The only bad thing about this is now that we really do have some resistance coming off on the 50 period moving average. So it's one of those things to be paying attention to. If we do see a sell-off, again, we might hit that, because you can see we've hit it. We've hit that 50 period moving average here on that daily, and it is acting as a resistance. So start paying attention to that, right? But I'm pretty positive that this thing's going to sell off into these lower levels, and then potentially shoot back up potentially. All right, guys, that's in a nutshell. Let's go into some sponsors.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for sticking with us. Show first, welcome Pit Monk to the show, coming all the way from just north of London, out in the country there.
Is London?
I don't know how much
water. Can I get a bottle of water?
Oh, that's even worse than my Irish accent. That was terrible. Terrible.
A bottle of water. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That was horrible. Anyway, got to take a few moments just to talk about our sponsors here. The first one I got up here on the big screen behind me, otherwise known as back in my living room with a green screen, is Audit Chain. And Audit Chain, as you can see, as I talk about them every week, is our sponsor du jour of the channel. If you don't know about them, if it's the first time watching this show, we talk about them a lot. A lot of my rugged, ruined, and wrecked episodes talk about Audit Chain, because when a bank goes down, or a company that's involved in public company that's somewhat involved in crypto goes down, Audit Chain can go back and audit all of their financial filings in a couple of minutes, and you can see what's wrong with their books. Things that would take accounting companies, weeks or a long time, or a lot of billable hours to do. Audit Chain's what we call their validating nodes. Their software sits on validating nodes around the internet, and you use the public blockchains. In fact, I think they sit on Poly to run their the publicly filed documents through their system, and it spits out the answers: good, bad. These are the problems. Balance sheets that don't balance. Like, how can a modern Big Four accounting company file for a bank, or for anyone, file with the SEC their balance sheet and it doesn't balance? It's the essence of the name, balance sheet. Anyway, so that's what they do. They're coming out with their product. They're getting ready to launch their first customer. Check them out at Audit Chain. Also, as I like, also because it's that time of the year. It's that time of the year for taxes, ladies and gentlemen. Your favorite thing ever. Right here we have. Let me turn the logo off here. Patrick Camuso's business, Camuso CPA. They handle crypto accounting, and they specialize it. They don't just treat it as an afterthought, or we'll figure it out when you bring it to us. That's what they do, and they do it. And Patrick is out there on the internet trying to get the word out that you need a specialty company right now, because the laws are so crazy about them and they change all the time. For instance, they're changing just today, or changing January 1st, a few days ago. So it requires a company that specializes. And Patrick is kind enough to sponsor our show. And there's a link down below. And if you sign up to be evaluated by them, please put down that you heard about them from Striking, Pedro, DYOR Media, the great YouTubes in general. It would be great. Obviously, this is for U.S. customers. We get to a worldwide audience. But, however, if you tune in to Patrick's podcasts, his LinkedIn events, all that type of stuff that he does, the advice he gives generally is great for whatever tax market you're in. Because the basics are the same, whether you're here in the UK, Europe, whatever. You earn income, you got to pay the tax. That's how it works. And a lot of times people don't understand what income is or a taxable transaction. Like a good example is a lot of you watching don't realize that when you add liquidity or take liquidity out of a token, that's a taxable transaction because you have bought and sold to do that. So check out Camuso CPA. Now we get on with the main part of the show today, and this was scheduled to be the rant. Hold on, before I do that, a quick social media break. Thank you to everybody watching on YouTube. We really appreciate it. We've got people on Twitch today. We had not many, and not many on Kick, but it gets the word out. But obviously we're on LinkedIn. There's a number of you watching on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. We try to focus the conversation on YouTube because it helps with our engagement. With LinkedIn, we don't get a lot of live viewers, but we get a lot of replays down the road as people around the world get notified of our event. But with YouTube, having everybody here live to generate a conversation is really what it's about. Because like I always say, I learned from you guys, and you guys hopefully learned from Pedro and I. It's a two-way street. And not only that, but every once in a while, one of you guys corrects me on something, or at least say, it's not really what it is, Tom. Why don't you check out this article? And Pedro does that to me too, and hopefully I do it to Pedro. It's a learning experience. And so having a live audience in order to exchange information is good. And flesh out the rumors, like Mike was just about to spread some awful gossip around, but I stopped him from doing that. Pit Monk says PMSL. Don't know what that is. Anyone? I'm sure Pit Monk does.
Please make Solana great.
No, I'm sure. Tell us. Crypto Mike, one of these days you'll get the spelling of Pacioli, right? Luca Pacioli was the inventor of the modern day double entry accounting system. He was a Venetian trading merchant in the 1500s. That's when the modern day accounting system was invented, and they're only just changing the rules. Callie, you got to leave me alone for this. This is my diatribe part of the show. But anyway, thanks to everyone also watching on Twitter. If you watch on Twitter, I've enabled the broadcast and the chat function. So there is a actually you don't chat by tweets. You chat in a little chat box there on the desktop. It looks pretty nice. We don't have anyone watching that right now. So not that I want you to go over and watch Twitter. Don't do that. That's just to grab the people scrolling and hopefully get some additional viewers, something to show the product placement thing. But again, thanks to all our sponsors, and thank you to all our viewers wherever you're coming to us from, whether you're live or on the replay. And if you're watching us live, hop over to the YouTube stream and get involved in the conversation. All right, now it's time to talk about our country and the other countries around the world that follow our laws and where we're going awry. Perhaps many of you didn't know, don't follow the IRS. Although I usually do. I usually do. Part of my life is I'm in a little bit in the accounting world with the Zero software. I'm a partner for them. Like to get them to sponsor our show, but they've got other things going on. But this one caught me by surprise. New crypto law takes effect in the U.S. Transactions of $10,000 or more must be reported to IRS within 15 days. They leave out a little bit of context here. So I will give that to you, and it may not be pleasant. The general context rule here is a new tax reporting law is entered into force in the U.S. starting on January 1st. All Americans receiving $10,000 or more in crypto in the course of their trade or business must file a report with the IRS within 15 days. If you don't file a report within 15 days of receiving the transaction, you could be found guilty of a felony offense. How about that? And Coin Center, this company that's listed here, Coin Center, there'll be a number of lawsuits for this, but they're the first one to sue the IRS and say it's flatly unconstitutional to do this. Effective January 21st, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which passed in November 21, requires anyone who receives $10,000 or more in cryptocurrency in the course of their trade or business to make a report to the IRS about the transaction. The law didn't require that. What the law said is it gave the IRS direction to reduce fraud, and all this type of stuff. The report must include, among other things, the name, address, and social security number of the person from whom the funds were received. It can be social security number or tax identification number if it's a company. And the date and the nature of the transaction. Coin Center executive Jerry Brito detailed, and I've got a ask out to him to be on the show too. The law became effective on January 1st, and all Americans are now subject to it. If you don't file a report within 15 days of receiving the transaction, you can be found guilty of a felony offense. Now, depending on how it's filed and how they charge you, a felony offense in the United States is a crime that is serious in nature enough to which they can deny you your basic civil rights.
Like holding a gun.
Right.
Like being able to vote.
Second Amendment rights. Go to prison. Go to prison. A federal prison. Not just the jail down the way and saying you got to spend a week in the drunk tank. No, federal prison. Your record is marked as a felon, in which almost any job in the financial industry now, unless you work for yourself, requires a criminal background check. Some states are starting to pass laws saying you can't do that anymore because literally half the state has a criminal background. But it also, you can't own a firearm. I don't know about the international crowd, but in the U.S., that is very important, very important to a lot of Americans, including yours truly. It's the basic right of Americans to be able to defend themselves and overthrow their government if tyranny happens like the British. And to keep yourself safe. I won't go into that right now. But also, it removes your ability to vote. At certain crimes, you're not allowed, and I don't know the nuances of felony law and voting and stuff. There are some differences. But once you get on the list, this is the interesting part. Once you get on the list to not be able to vote, it's almost impossible to get off of it, even if you have your record expunged, because Congress has defunded the Election Commission and also the ATF from actually truly expunging people's records and restoring their rights to vote. It's the most amazing thing, and it's this constitutional conundrum that
when was that done?
Nobody can. Oh, it's been like that for 20 years now. And Congress won't restore the funding for the FEC or the ATF to release people and say that you're good. There are obviously, like anything else in law and in the government, there's nuances to that. But the general idea is like it's too hard to do that, so they just don't fund it. And it looks bad. It looks bad for a politician to allow criminals to be able to do these things again. Imagine if a guy got wrongly convicted or something, got his rights taken away from him. Then he fought and won, but he was still on the list. Congress has to pass a law saying they can spend money to do that, and then the guy actually goes out and does commit a murder or something. All the politicians he put that criminal on the street, so they don't like to put their name behind those things. Anyway, the point is that now with this law, this $10,000 law, you have to report. If Pedro sends me $10,000 as part of DYOR or any transaction at all, because all of crypto is technically business and interstate commerce, I would have to ask him for his social security number, and within 2 weeks fill out a form and report him to the IRS that he sent me that money. Now, is that right? Is that the right thing to do? No, it's not the right thing to do. The executive director of Coin, whatever you call it, Coin Center, outlined some potential challenges in complying with this new regulation. For example, if a miner or validator, Chuck, we're talking about you, receives block rewards in excess of $10,000, whose name and address and social security number do they report? I'll call up Mr. Bitcoin. Hey, can anyone find Satoshi? If you engage in on-chain decentralized exchange of crypto for crypto and receive $10,000 in cryptocurrency, who do you report? You do a swap on Uniswap or PancakeSwap. You receive $10,000 equivalent, or you report the smart contract. And by what standard should you measure whether the amount of a particular cryptocurrency is equivalent to more than 10,000? Because it varies. He also questioned when someone makes a donation, such as Bitcoin, BTC, or Ether, anonymously to a public address, who would the recipient list as the donor? So say you burn $10,000 worth of token. You've sent it. The smart contract has thus received it, but it's burned. Who's reporting that? These are all questions the Treasury Department is yet to answer. And generally what all of these questions do for government agencies is it generates a list, a FAQ, an FAQ. And it says, this is, this not, this not, and this not. And basically someone in a boardroom just makes up answers to these things. A bunch of lawyers get around and make up answers to it. And what they end up doing is infringing on Americans' rights. I fully understand the concept of trying to make sure people pay their taxes and people don't donate to terrorists. But do all of us, meaning you, me, Pedro, everybody that's listening here that's an American, or even in your home country, wherever you are, is your job as a regular citizen to tell on other people around you? Is that where do we live in the Soviet Union? Indonesia's like that. Indonesia, people, it's just part of their culture. If someone sees someone strange going into a stranger's house, they notify the local authorities. They tell on everything. But that's their culture. Cultures for Americans and Brits and Europeans are not to tell on other people. It's mind your own damn business. And getting to a point where we're now supposed to tell on each other violates a whole bunch of constitutional law. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but I did read Twitter. Well, I read Twitter, so I know all of these things, ladies and gentlemen. But first of all, requiring us to report to the IRS violates, just from my basic concept of law, violates the First Amendment, freedom of speech. I have the right to do what I want with my money, without prior constraint, without the government telling me I can and can't do it. And by requiring that whoever I send my money to report me to the government is a prior restraint, because I may not want to do something if they're going to report it to the government. Doesn't mean it's illegal. That has nothing to do with illegal. That just means you know what? I don't like the government knowing everything that I do. Now, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about as a personal example, although I am talking about me. I don't want the government knowing everything I do. If I file my taxes at the end of the year and they're not right, audit me. We'll argue over it. If you win, I'll pay. If I win, you send me a bigger refund. That's how it should work. Or if you're engaging in crime, law enforcement should figure it out. But it should not be your responsibility, my responsibility, the neighbor's responsibility to all tell on each other when we do stuff. It's not right. It's not right. Get a little animated about it.
But I want to also bring this up because this is really important. I was watching an excerpt of excerpt. Am I saying that? Anyways,
Excerpt?
I was watching the excerpt, as I'm messing that up again, of when in Braveheart, where the king of England said to the people, the best way to get rid of Scottish people, or Scotland. Best way to Scottish. Why am I missing that? Scotland. I apologize. And it says the best way to get rid of Scots is to help them get rid of them. And so he goes through, right, and he reinstitutes where the lords can go through and sleep with anybody who marries. And so there's that one scene in Braveheart where the guy goes through and they're having a public wedding, and then you see the Lord come in and he takes the girl, and the guy gets crazy. And then the wife comes up, or his fiance, who's now his wife, right? Comes up and she places her hand on his chest and kisses him and says, "Don't worry." And she rides off and he sleeps with her, right?
Because that's how it's done, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Well, the reason what I'm trying to say is this: if you were to stop him from doing it, you were breaking the law, and they could kill you. So the law itself vilified people who should be right. In the same sense, I almost feel like this law is a way to literally to bring out of the woodwork for people to get in trouble and to break laws, and then get them to take away their rights, right? In a sense, because if I can
Right.
get you to take away your rights, then you no longer have the ability to fight the authority. You are a bad person because you broke the law. Even though the law is unconstitutional and wrong, it sets a precedent of a negative narrative that is then looked at as positive. And this is
Exactly. Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what this is doing. And they're doing it in a way that it really breaks our whole system. The modern day U.S. government is. Oh, you know what? I hit the wrong screen on the whole time here. Anyway, the modern.
Lawton is right. Prima not nocte. Prima first night in Latin. Yeah, yes. Thank you. Yeah, I apologize. Go ahead. You were finishing. I apologize. I
had your screen up the whole time instead of my close-up screen, so I was pointing at things that weren't in the right spot. Anyway, the whole concept of the federal government being able to regulate every last aspect of your business life, which almost everything you do in life is now related to business, is based on what we call the Interstate Commerce Clause in the U.S. And the Interstate Commerce Clause, for you foreigners, is a clause in the United States Constitution, in the original Constitution, not an amendment, that says the federal government reserves the right to manage commerce amongst the states. And what that was said, if you look and read the Federalist Papers or the history of things, they wanted to prevent what goes on in Canada here now. That's a good example. And the states, it prohibited the states from taxing each other. It prohibited the states from saying that you can't import stuff from New York to California or stuff like that. Only the federal government has a right to regulate, tax interstate commerce. And the intent was so the states don't fight with each other and don't create weird taxation systems and just make a mess. We wanted a larger homogenous market, and it worked. Then we had this thing called the Whiskey Rebellion. The Whiskey Rebellion was a time when you can go Google it and stuff like that. I'm going to paraphrase it so I don't have to do that. A local bunch of people said, we don't like the taxes on booze. And so we're the authority to make it or not. We're going to make it ourselves. We're going to make it ourselves. We're not going to sell it to another states or anything like that. We're just going to make it and drink it ourselves. And the federal government said, you can't do that. We've got a law that says whatever. It says you got to follow this, and only licensed people can do it, and this type of stuff. And they're like, no, we're making this for ourselves. We're just doing it here. I think it was in Ohio or West Virginia, somewhere like that. They said, well, we're doing it amongst ourselves. We're not going across state lines. We're just in our community here doing it. And they came in and gave everyone the business and said, no, you can't do that. So they sued, went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court ruled, hey, guess what? By you guys, this is the stretch, by you guys making it and consuming yourself, you did not buy something in interstate commerce. Thus, you affected interstate commerce. So thus, the government can regulate that. By not doing something, they were still guilty of affecting that something because they didn't buy it. So and so the Supreme Court said, nope, sorry. By just merely engaging in the act, you're affecting the overall commerce picture. So we get to regulate. They expanded the scope of the Interstate Commerce Clause so greatly that it basically opened up the United States government to regulate everything. And if you think about it, for you Americans out there, think about any law that exists federally, and think of where in the Constitution that gives the Congress the power to regulate it. There's a couple things like Bill of Rights, or not the Bill of Rights, the amendments that give the power to tax, income tax. There's a couple other things about excise and duties tax and all that kind of stuff, and regulation of markets. But where is it saying in the Constitution they can regulate drugs, they can regulate firearms, they can regulate all types of other things, or anything like the flammability of your shirt, federally regulated. It's the Interstate Commerce Clause, and that's how that exists. And so they keep bringing it down. So now it governs whether money we send to each other. Is that right? No, it's not right. All right, and let me get back to the point of what how they're talking about this here with Jerry from the Coin Center. Go ahead, Pedro.
Also, I want to say, I mean, here's the key. It's not whether it's right or wrong. It's what you're willing to let them do. This is the key. I'm not advocating for overthrowing the government. I'm not advocating. I'm a huge proponent in following the rules. And here in America, if people would just start to wake up, like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, people paid attention to what was actually kind of happening
Absolutely.
in the U.S. government, and they read what was going on in the law. Right now, because, and I hate to say it, and I think it's, I don't want to say it's a magic plan of them trying to do things to you, but with the food that we eat, we're always tired. With what we actually wear, because of forever chemicals, it's actually draining our energy. I mean,
Totally.
like it really is. Like, I'm not joking. Like, it is literally taking away your ability as a guy and girl to have high testosterone, so that you have the get up and go to do something. And so it's literally, we use, so there's this give and take, right? Because now, you know, our clothes are really cheap and they're comfortable instead of being harsh. But at the same time, you also have this side of, if Americans would just start to read these laws again and say, no, like, get this trash out of here, then things could change again. Like, we can do this legally and properly by saying, no, we don't agree with this. Listen, you federal court, I get it, but you're overstepping your boundary here, and you need to back up, right? Because we have these fundamental real laws that protect us. And if we just, you know, it's a cycle. There's a lot of things here over the last 20 years, literally 20 years, have really been enacted, that have really been pushed, and it's, you know, it's against the law. But the reality is we roll over because we're tired.
Yep.
You know.
And there's so much information coming out of the U.S. government. So many people, as many of you heard before, about mission creep, is that every U.S. government agency wants to grow its mission, because that's how people get promoted. It's not that some have evil people running them, like the SEC. Not evil people, evil intent, whatever. They suffer from mission creep. Every year they want a larger budget because they say, oh, we can do this. They have vendors coming to them saying that you have a gap in coverage. You know, these people are sneaking through, and that since the vendor told them they have a gap, they have to, well, we have to analyze that because we don't want to be the ones that said we were notified of a gap and then we didn't do anything about it. So the KYC, the AML people get more into it, and then finally they get to a point where they're like, all right, everyone's got to live in bubble wrap and hold their money in their hands, and the government gets to feed you and take your money from you. And that's what's going on. Welcome to our viewers on Kick, and thanks for commenting. Joy Root, thank you. Let us know where you're coming to us from. Appreciate the viewing on that platform.
And if you could, come check us out over on YouTube real quick. Hit that like button. And if you want to go back to Kick, you're more than welcome.
Absolutely. I'm trying to oh, go ahead, Pedro. Go ahead.
And if you don't mind, guys, please hit that. If you've creeped in here and you don't mind, please hit that like button, share button, as well as comment. Tell us where you're at. And the little bubbles coming up right now with all the hearts. If we could have some people hitting those as well, those help with the engagement. Hearts. If you hit the what do you call those?
Yeah, on LinkedIn, it's a bunch of things. Yeah. There's every platform has their thing. I'm trying to find the FinCEN rules also, but while I'm doing that, I've got Jerry Brito here. Jerry is the executive director of Coin Center. It's a Washington D.C. crypto think tank and advocacy group, and they've been going at it and advocating for cryptocurrency for a long time in Washington D.C. And they seem to be pretty well funded. Oh, here's the guy. He sings this song, "Crypto is a Felony." Let me see if I can get it online here. Okay, you should have it now.
Because I want to sell my song.
Can you guys hear it?
Yeah, they can. I don't know if you can, Pedro.
You see, last year I wrote a folk song for an army led by Elizabeth Warren. She's bound determined to bring us all down. And the song that I wrote.
It's not playing on the. I don't know why it doesn't. Did everyone hear that? Let me know if you could hear that. My screen capture doesn't capture that for some reason.
With an ironic twist about a felony that I might commit. Yes, I'm destined, determined to break the law. Oh, because I want to sell my songs to strangers. You see, last year I wrote a folk song for an army led by Elizabeth Warren. She's bound and determined to bring us all down. And the song that I wrote, well, it made all the rounds on Twitter. So I minted that song like any other day, and a bidding war started.
Full Rant Fridays. Such a pretty song.
When the dust settled, one winner
All right, let's pull that up.
5.324 ETH was the amount that I earned.
All right, where the hell? Where did that page? I can't get rid of it.
Or their address, their social security, or anything else. I got an ENS name, but that won't be enough, cause the 5.3 ETH was above $10,000.
The song goes on for another minute. It's really good. Yes, Chuck. Full Rant Friday is such a pretty song. I'm gonna drop the link to it in the comment section right now, so you guys can go find it. It's fabulous. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually not gonna do that. I'm actually going to just I'm going to forward it to retweet it.
We're going to start the new FRF from now on. I love that. FRF, Full Rant Fridays.
Full Rant Fridays.
You can comment. You know what'd even be cool to do? And like Jerry Lawton, we can actually do both. So we can live stream where we literally have the streaming on X, where we do a space where people can come in and talk, and then at the same time we stream it on YouTube, so we can actually have people talking and we can go back and forth with it, right, on the audio, so people can overhear the audio. And then we can actually interchange with people. So we could have Mr. Lawton and Pitmonk and Mr. Jensen come in, talk about what they're feeling. And, we could have some really good dialect, what's actually what we feel, and tell us, like, your thoughts and what's actually going on. Except for those who are in Canada, you can't even say things, because I guess...
Oh, Canada they have the thought police here. They have the thought police here. There's a great example here. There's a controversial figure amongst some people. Other people, he's a righteous guy who's a psychologist, and he said some things on Twitter that are obvious to any human being ever. Like, certain people have certain equipment down there, and certain people do not have that equipment. And unless you have an operation to cut that equipment off, you have the equipment, so you're one thing versus another. And man, that was not good to say. Man. he got punched down. He got beat up, and his licensing board. I'm not gonna say the name because I don't want the algorithm to associate it with that argument.
Got it.
His licensing board, the Canadian Federal Association of Psychologists, said, all right, you've got to go for retraining. Social media training, and
really?
And said you have to go and take these classes because what you said is inappropriate. So they went for he had to go for mental retraining, and he's like, no, that's ridiculous. I don't have to go for any retraining. I can say what I want. And they're like, no, we're gonna rescind your license to be a professional in our country. And they went that route, and he sued, and he lost. They went to court, and the court said they have a human rights court here in Canada, it's totally ridiculous. It's like nobody ever, if you get sued in it, you might as well quit, because nobody ever wins. It's only the aggrieved that win. But he lost, and he had to go for training. He had to go and sit and be reprogrammed in the head. Just like, I don't know how many of you watched the movie The Killing Fields. If you have not watched the movie The Killing Fields, that's where this woke argument goes. It goes right there. Go watch The Killing Fields. It's a true story about a reporter from the New York Times and this cameraman in Cambodia during the war back then. And it's a true story about what happens when the young woke people take over and how the extreme that it can go to. It's very important that everyone watch that movie. It's a true story. It's sad. But thankfully it has an American ending. Pedro, I think you put something up and you may not have taken it down. I don't know if I can take it down when you
sorry.
Put something up.
That's weird. You should be right. I thought you should be able to do that. Okay.
No, I have to. I can't just take it down. I have to. We both have control over the comments, and but it doesn't show me which one on my system to take down. I have to just enable another one and then take it down.
Okay, so let me go and take that. I apologize.
I already got it. But anyway, holy, let's hold on. We got to back up here. I've been not paying attention to this. Ka-ching. This is a first here on DYOR Live. This is a first. And I had this set up just in case this might happen. Check this out. Look at your screen, Pedro. The public screen, not the studio view, whatever. What does it say up there? Pedro? Earth to Pedro. Oh, wait, Chuck. Chuck says the first was me. I don't know where Pedro went. Pedro, did you die? Did you lose your... Hold on, let me check on Pedro before I go back to this. Pedro's with us. All right, anyway, I'll take it from here. Pedro can come back. When did Chuck do... Wait, when did Chuck do that? When was... Wait, what? What did I miss? We started a monitor... Ka-ching, thank you very much. Chuck, thank you very much. Thank you. Chuck was the first. I'm sorry, I didn't know when that was. If it was like 2 years ago, I'm sorry, I forgot all of those. But if it was recent, Chuck, I humbly apologize for not acknowledging that. I have to say, it warms my heart to get you guys to a point where contributing to the cause helps. Every dollar helps us put more of this info on the air. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. It does. It really does. And listen, since you guys really started commenting and connecting with us, and really, it's honestly helped. So we're really going to try to start, like in any of the money that you guys give, we're honestly just going to put back into the show and feed it to the algorithm within YouTube. So
I was wondering why. Sorry, go ahead, Pedro. Sorry, go ahead.
It's all right. So, that money just goes right back into the algorithm. You can actually pay to ask them, hey, look, would you please put us up in the search? Obviously, the top shows out there really do. They put a lot of money into that so they can stay up in the top searches for crypto, and especially that when the bull market's happening. We're already starting to see a pickup of people who just wanting to understand crypto and what's actually going on from charting to a fundamental level, right? And understanding the laws behind it, what's actually going on. That's where we really tick, right? And on top of that, explaining to people, look, this is how you can get rugged. Don't do this. Like, this is another way. Don't do this. And we stay very abreast of what's going on. And so we personally feel that we do a great job bringing on great content, great speakers, and people do. So that money, you guys help out by giving it. We're able to put back into the show, and hopefully, like I said, this year, I really want to see us at least 5,000 to 10,000 viewers every day, and Mr. Jansen and everybody out there who are just the OGs, we'll be like, yo, thank you, because you guys help it. Shoot, we might do paid spaces. You guys come in and talk about the olden days, right? Like, thank you.
Well, so. I can't. I got to tell you, I was sitting here talking about stuff, and yak, and I was just mentioning that Pedro and I both have the ability to control the comments, and the system works pretty well. But I saw the blue one up there, and I hadn't seen the blue one before, and so I thought it was something that Pedro. It changed in the system or something. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why it's blue. It didn't look all the way down in the corner where it says super chat. And Chuck did $2, Ka-ching, $5, and then Chuck couldn't let him Ka-ching get outbid with $3. So he added $3 to it so that they're even. Thank you very much. You don't know how much time I spent working on this comment system. We've never received a super chat before.
Thank you.
But I set it up so it recognizes it. Different colors. It brings up the dollar amount over there. And it worked. One of the few things that I do on this show, technically, that worked right off the bat. Although I must say, I did have a fireworks thing that was supposed to go off. And I note that didn't happen. So I don't have that set up right. But this, thank you so much. I got to tell you, not only is the token amount of money a start, and every, like Pedro said, every little bit helps. You can't believe how much it's going to help the engagement on this show.
Yeah.
That shows that YouTube people aren't just A, bots, but B, that they're really interested in the content. And that shows YouTube, hey, something's going on here that's real. And people will put their money up with it's literally into Pedro and I's mouth. So that's awesome. Thank you guys so much. Ka-ching says, right on, buddy. Pitmonk, even though crypto has been it's been about a long time. Oh, I gotta use the Northern London accent. Oh, wait, is your Pitmonk? Are you getting close? Are you in the north of Hertfordshire, where the accent starts getting a little bit like York? Because I don't know if I can stand. First of all, I can't do that. Can't do the York accent. Even though crypto has been about a long time, we are all still incredibly early to this global revolution. Obviously, I completely agree with that. Chuck says, exactly, we've been building the views, comments, interactions. Now time to put a little money into the algorithm. Yep. That's it. And Pedro and I behind the scenes are working those angles too and stuff like that. Oh, I just noticed on my comment screen there is a super chat column here that I get to see. Oh, good. Nearer a Londoner accent. Thank God. I don't care whether it's the Docklands or the Queen's English in London or something, but as long as it's not the Yorkshire accent.
I like the Yorkshire accent, tell you the truth. I honestly, the truth is I had a girl in high school who was she was from Yorkshire. And I loved hearing her accent, tell you the truth. So, honestly, speak for yourself.
Well, the problem is that it's the Yorkshire,
it's hard to understand.
Slow. It's like the sloth in the Disney Pixar movies where... You don't understand. I had to deal with a guy. His name is Carl, and he was from Yorkshire. A 5-minute conversation would take 20 minutes just because it's so slow, and you're like, oh, for F's sake, come on, let's get it going. I'm in the very south of Hertfordshire, so he's down there. He probably can get the TFL into the city. I love that area, by the way. I love that area, the north of London area and stuff like that. I had to go there. The north. What did I? No, I guess I went farther up there. I had to go all the way up near Nebworth. I used to have to go all over that place. I love that area. As you get out of the city and it gets a little bit more sparse up there. Very, very nice. Anyway, I'm very surprised. Thank you from Pedro and I for donating. We really appreciate it. Before we get back into Pedro's charts, I want to finish up the topic of the day because I want to combine these efforts and put them out in a separate video. And that is the concept that it's not just the IRS. It's the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FINCEN. And FINCEN is also in the business of making your life miserable. If I may say so correctly. FINCEN was started as a group that... let me see if I can bring them up here. Crypto recording and record keeping requirements. This is from 21. But anyway, FINCEN... They started out, they were established in 2001 with the Patriot Act following 9/11 and said, all right, we let terrorist money fund this stuff. We need an organization that tracks that. And they started out just saying, okay, go out and figure it out. Then FinCEN said, well, we need a better database, so we need to start having people report or companies report this. So banks had to start having to report suspicious activity reports to FinCEN. They started to have to... do some other things. And FinCEN said, hey, we're getting a lot of information from banks, but, you know, these terrorists, they're tricky. They do other things. So they said, all right, well, how are terrorists moving money around? And they're like, well, they steal cars and try and sell them and stuff like that. And they use the automobile network because there was a case in which people made a bunch of money donated to terrorism through the buying and selling of cars. So they turned all car dealers into groups that are called financial institutions that have to report, and they changed the Bank Secrecy Act also, and then car dealers and used car dealers. I was a car dealer, I had a car dealer license in Illinois as part of my old car manufacturing business, and we had to check the box that we took the class in reporting suspicious transactions. I built and sold armored vehicles. Everything was effing suspicious. I mean, come on. And even when we sold it to the government or foreign governments, I mean, my God. But anyway, so they made car dealers, financial institutions that had to report to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Then they said, well, people are doing this with houses now. So now your title company, you've heard me talk about this before, your title company has to report you if the transaction is suspicious. But you know what they count as suspicious? When titling property, not just homes, but titling any titleable property, cars, houses, factory machinery, that type of stuff, is when you pay for it all and don't finance it. I don't mean in cash. I mean if you just don't you don't finance it. Even if you send a wire transfer from the bank or come with a cashier's check from a KYC account and all that type of stuff, the fact that you came and paid it without financing it means that you are suspicious in the eyes of the United States government. How about that?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, they've taxed Americans so bad that how often can an American actually pay for something in cash? You know, how is it that they have the ability to actually have that?
Well, I'll give you a great example, which all of you will identify with. Mom and dad sell the big family house. Then they were very lucky and they sell it for $1 million. They bought it 30 years ago for $200,000. They made $800,000 on it. And now they're buying a condo. And they can buy a condo for $500,000. So they go and they say, we don't want a mortgage now. They put $500,000 down. Fully through the bank, KYC account, normal everyday thing, cashier's check or wire transfer, however, boom. The title company has to report mom and dad, 79-year-old mom and dad, to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network because it's suspicious. It's suspicious. The U.S. government says mom and dad buying a house and not financing it is suspicious, and we want to investigate that, or at least have it on record so we can investigate it. And you know what they do with that data? They publish it to the media saying that we justify our budget because we had 2 million suspicious transactions. 2 million. So we need more people to investigate all that. We need a larger budget. Our director needs to be a cabinet level now because it's more important. When a director gets to be a cabinet level, he gets bodyguards, he gets black Suburbans, he gets all this kind of stuff. And so now mom and dad are, in the eyes of this government, are suspicious and potentially subject to an investigation for doing nothing other than doing well financially in their life and getting a little lucky in the equity market, home equity market. How about that? How about that? So let's move on with FinCEN. Now it's 2023. This is 2021. 2023, they came up with some new crypto rules they're trying to get out there. Now, we have the SEC saying, and the CFTC, really, CFTC saying people should not self-custody. You should go through an exchange. You're not allowed. DeFi shouldn't exist. You should only be able to go through a licensed exchange to trade stuff. This sending stuff to each other or smart contracts is for the birds. All right, so we have one arm of the government saying you have to go through a third party. What FinCEN is saying is that you can't not go through a third party to transfer crypto money value from one party to another. Their rules they're trying to get out there, and I used to have these up here on the favorites, but I changed them. And you can go look them up. The rules say, proposed rules. Let me be clear about that. Proposed rules say that you must send in one transaction. Say I owe Pedro $15,000. Now I have to send it to him at once. I cannot break it up into smaller payments. It doesn't say if you have a payment plan or a layaway plan or you're paying it over months. It says if you need to send someone $15,000, you have to send it in one transaction, and you can't break it up into smaller ones. You also cannot go through a third party, meaning a Tumbler, Mixer, Tornado Cash, anything like that. And you also cannot go through custody or escrow account. There are all of these escrow accounts that smart contracts work on, meaning that I do a service, you're paying for it, you put your money in the escrow, I certify and the escrow account determines that the service was provided, then they pay out. And in a lot of smart contracts, it's automatic. There's no humans involved. It just happens. Technically, those would not be legal in the United States.
Anymore.
And not only that, but you can't go wallet to wallet to wallet. You can't use one-time wallets. They said no one-time wallets. Obviously, they're pushing for each person to own a KYC'd wallet with a KYC token in it, so everyone knows who it is. And everyone in the government, not each other. But as we all know, we all figure everything out, whose wallet is whose. And that you can't go through wallet to wallet. You must send it directly to that person or to that organization or anything like that. And people say, well, sometimes our crypto, we tap our phone and it goes to, crypto.com and then they pay that. How does that work? And FinCEN was like, doesn't matter. You figure it out. And so what they're saying is that not only if you combine the IRS now and the FinCEN rules, if you pay someone $15,000, not only are you suspicious, but you have to send it all at once. You can't break it up into smaller payments. Like if you want the IRS $10,000 rule, say let's send 3 $5,000 payments. Nope, guilty is a felony. Now the IRS says, oh, you sent 3 $5,000 payments. You didn't report it as a $15,000 transaction within 15 days. Guess what? Guilty of a felony. So these two groups have passed rules that Congress did not intend, nor the people to intend. So you can basically accidentally become a felon.
That's crazy, man.
I know. That's not right.
Crazy.
You become a felon by intentionally violating the laws of society in which we as a society say, we don't want you to participate in society for a certain period of time because you are not someone that follows the rules. It's not meant to accidentally trip people up or be a draconian enforcement thing. So I've spoken a lot about the IRS and the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network today. Later, probably next week, I'll gather some information and put ways for you to certain members of Congress to contact and send a form letter to and stuff. But this is just ridiculous. It's not how Americans are supposed to live. We're not supposed to be here to satisfy the needs of the government. The government's supposed to exist to satisfy our needs. We're not supposed to be here to rat on each other and tell if our neighbor murdered someone, we're supposed to call the police on that. If our neighbor in the course of due business sends me $10,000, what if my son mowed the guy's yard for the past year and the neighbor says, oh, I'll hit you up at the end of the year. And it worked out to be, I've made $12,000 in a summer once mowing yards. I've worked my ass off, but it was a lot of money. What if I got it all paid at the end of the summer at once? And it happened to be in an era of stablecoins.
Yep.
I would have to ask the person for their social security number. Do you think a dad down the street or a collection of dads is going to give the social security number to a 14-year-old kid so the 14-year-old kid can report them to the effing federal government? No. Exactly. No.
Exactly. Come on. Preach.
Preach, baby. Preach. All right. That's enough of that. I'll gladly enter. Oh, go ahead. That's enough of it from me. Pedro, if you got stuff to add, go for it.
Well, here's my thing again, and this is the part that frustrates me in all of this, is that they're setting up for a police state. It's almost like one chip at a time, right? Like in sales, when I'm selling somebody and I'm sitting down, right? There are agreements. If I come in and start to shake my head kind of forward as every time they see a yes, right? And then all of a sudden I start to see them shake their head yes. Then I'm like, okay, I got one step. I've got them here. All right, now next step. If I start to, move and I'm communicating and they start to parrot my words and I'm parroting their words. It's just they are slowly chipping away at our rights in a way where they're setting up for a police state. And like there needs to be some form of like accountability to sit there and say, look, we don't need Uncle Sam to fully protect us, right? Like if somebody comes in and they want to do this stuff, don't over police it. Because by over policing it, you don't allow for innovation. And by that, then you keep out real growth. And here's the truth is that crypto's not going away. The rest of the world, from the UK to South Africa to Sydney, Australia, all the way up, even in Ukraine and even in China. I mean, half the nodes are in China. I wouldn't say half of them, but a big portion are in China, and even though, so it's like, as Americans, as the American government, they aren't allowing us to get ahead. And here's the thing: you're trying so hard to squash this now that you're going to suck the life out of it here for real innovations here in America, and we're going to be a lot like the Muslim culture during the shutdown of the printing press and a lot of these other things that really made the whole entire culture fall back literally hundreds of plus years.
Yep.
Right. And so all of a sudden now we're a dilapidated society because we're no longer have the ability to actually correlate. And if any smart Generation Z, Generation Alpha is out there, right, and we're coming up into beta, like, the reality is this, is that they're going to be going into crypto. Like, they're not going to sit there and they're, as of right now, we're still open and free. I would go over to the UK. I would go into places that are crypto friendly, and we lose our talent. And this is my biggest issue, is like, let it breathe. You need to let things breathe, because if you do not, we're not going to have the talent and the skill sets and the tax revenue to take care of the boomers and Generation X and Y that are literally getting older. They're going to be living into 80 to 100 years old. So, like, they need to think this thing through. Sorry, that is my rant. There's a lot there.
It turns out the comments from the Twitter chat room feature on the broadcast thing do come up in the thing. Interesting. Anyway, Dara, discourage private capital and capital formation. Every time we say it, I laugh. Enforce voice debt on people. You couldn't be more right. Think about it just from a general economics perspective. Any regulation is a barrier, right? And obviously, you know, I'm fully one to admit we need regulation of markets. You can't have completely unregulated markets. Soon, all hell will break loose. It'll be like the purge every day. We get that. Yeah. But there's no greater restriction to growth in the economy than government regulations. It's really the only thing that restrains growth. Now, sometimes you want to have restricted growth, and not, you know, or you don't want it to go too fast. And we get that. And there's plenty of stuff like that in the markets that do that. But there's certain things, like I said earlier, about prior restraint for this. When you restrain me from doing something by saying, oh, if you do this, that's going to happen, then it's not a good thing. I might not do it, even though what I'm doing is fully legal. You know, that's a basics of the United States law is no prior restraint, no ex post facto, all this type of stuff. And frankly, also, you know, I'll just get more into constitutional law. It's a violation of our Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable search and seizure by the government. They are basically requiring us to report on ourselves and take all of our financial information, because soon $10,000. Note the new laws are not indexed for inflation, so that $10,000 in 5 years will be the same as $1,200 now with the rate of inflation. And so they'll be taking all of our financial transactions as part of a requirement to be an American, and that's not right. And also it violates our Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination. We shouldn't have to report to the government and potentially self-incriminate ourselves unknowingly. Because it doesn't mean that I want to be clear, it doesn't mean that you're trying to hide something from the government, do something illegal. You can accidentally self-incriminate you because you could be dealing with a terrorist and not know it. Pedro could be the chief financial officer for Hamas, and I would never know.
What? Why would you even say something like that, bro? Like, that just...
All right. Let me rephrase. I'll rephrase it. I could be the chief financial officer for Hamas, and Pedro could be dealing with me for some reason, and I send him some money. Pedro reports it. Now, since Pedro dealt directly with a terrorist, he's just self-incriminated himself. And our Constitution prevents that and prevents the government from setting up methods for people to accidentally do that too. And so it violates all sorts of laws and things like that. And so It's just a pain in the ass. Anyway, we've talked about that long enough. You people have been going on this show long enough. We've had lots of good stuff. Let's get back to what people want to hear, Pedro. Let's move back to the markets and finish the show off strong with a bunch of charts talking about the markets. All of you listening still, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Those that you hit the super chat button, amazing. I could be like one of those people on Twitch who are like, oh my God. I love those people.
Well, we appreciate it.
I'm talking about the feet. I'm talking about the feet people.
Oh, bro. Oh, why? Why would like?
I'm on a roll.
Okay, anyway, I was for real, man. Hamas, dude. Now people are gonna come up looking for Hamas, and they're gonna be like, "What's going on here?" Like, because it's gonna go up in the algorithm.
All right. Well, quickly, Pedro. Hold on one sec. Thank you. I saw that the viewership tick up here recently. Thank you, those that have recently joined us. I appreciate it. We've had a long show today, pretty much every day this week, talking about the crypto markets, not just from the technical analysis that Pedro provides us. For that kind of information when we want to get out. We've talked about our portfolio trading, our paper trading portfolio that we're doing here with the show, which we will talk about more during Pedro's section, next section of the show. And we've talked about the IRS and FinCEN in my Friday rants about what is going on with the rules and regulations in the United States in which we have to report on our neighbors and friends and be a giant surveillance state for each other.
You gotta be a snitch.
And if you want to go back and listen to that, you can just slide the bar back if you're on YouTube. I don't know if you can do that on LinkedIn or not, but thank you and thank you to the people. We actually had some commenters from Kick today as our first one. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
And it didn't appear to be a spammer or likes person or anything like that, or one of those other things. And of course, we've had some on Twitch, but the brunt of it today. And in fact, I even had someone view the Vimeo feed because I use Vimeo as our content delivery network here. It feeds the Roku channel and the Amazon Fire channel, which I don't get any feedback on. I thought snitches got stitches. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Dude, you mofo, you sent that to the IRS. Pow, 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 pow.
Well, no, not like that. But what we will, I think we need to create a song. We need to reach out to that guy who made that song and says, you need to create a song. Snitches get stitches.
Well, that's here's a good thing. Here's another example. This is like what here in the U.S. they prosecute people for wire fraud all the time. Basically, if you use any electronic device that goes over a wire and you do something wrong, it's like, well, it's wire fraud. Now, say you're a drug dealer. You're a drug dealer, and it's an era of stable coins, which was not that far off. You go to the street corner and you're like, hey, yo, Jimmy, you got a little, you got some stuff for me? Yeah, and the guy says, yeah, it's 10,000 USDT. Jimmy says, okay. Has his burner phone with his burner wallet on it, sends him USDT, $10,000. Jimmy did not get a social security number, didn't file an IRS form. Now, instead of his state law against dealing in whatever the state law prohibits, and now he's got a federal charge for not filing with the IRS. I mean, this is how they got Al Capone. I get it. He didn't file his taxes, but that law was meant to get guys like Al Capone. This law isn't. All right, back to the markets of the day. Crypto Mike, I thought oh, I'm getting silly here on this Friday. I'm gonna enjoy a beer. Who else is gonna enjoy a beer? All international drug deals are paid in USD. Just saying.
It's the truth, right? Like
get any $100 bill out and sniff it, and you're like, ooh, get a little Miami Vice action on that one.
You have feces and cocaine, literally. Like it is. It covers our dollars, our $5, our $20, our $100, right? It's like $50. Like,
I mean, how many movies do you watch? And Dara, correct us if I'm wrong here. How many movies out there are there showing the drug deal and they got giant briefcases full of Zimbabwe habachikis or whatever? Or there's a, hey, man, we got a whole bunch of Kazakhstani thingy flip-flops or whatever they are.
We got Argentinian pesos.
Yeah, it's how much do we got here? It's just 1 kilo of Coke, but I got 7 truckloads of paper.
Like, no, It doesn't happen, right? It's USD. It's USD hard paper money that they want. They want the greenback there. That's funny. That's good. Lawton. All right. Okay. All right. So real quick, just want to point this out. So
yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna use the old the little boys' room here. I'll be right back.
All right, cool. So I think it was Kaching who was asking about Gala. I'm looking at Gala right here, right now. Actually, I used to look at it, I think at the beginning of the bear market here. So I'm looking at the weekly and as well as the monthly chart. So right now, the monthly chart is sitting in between the 20 period moving average and the 8 period moving average. You can see that we're kind of ping-ponging here. And so Gala sitting in these levels here would be a decent level as a sell-off. You can see here that it did find some support here, which is sitting at that 2 cent mark, 229 area, as well as we've got support here on that monthly 20 where we're sitting there, and you can see it ping-ponged off of where we went up and kind of sold off. But if we do see a release of the ETF market, or not ETF market, I was thinking of NFTs, ETF market, you'll definitely see some benefits from that in Gala, and since it's coming down to this 8 period moving average, it could be an area for you to be looking to kind of start dollar cost average. Me looking at this, I have a monthly and a weekly zone sitting right here at that 225 or 0.019 area on Gala here. Now that's more of the kind of like the larger time frame, and the part that I do like about this is it's the beginning of the month, right? So they saw it go up, they created the supply wick, sold off at the beginning of this week or the beginning of the month. So to me, that's actually a bullish sign saying that the institutions are pushing it down to go up potentially here. So let's check out that weekly here. Again, for me, I like this area down in here, the lower level. Again, you have that 20 period moving average on the weekly sitting below here. So for me personally, if I'm, this has all been traded through until we get down to here and as well as here. Now, what I don't like is that we do have some higher time frame SMAs that we did not get through. And we have weekly supply here. So we have a lot of this stuff have been traded except through the peak here. This is a weekly supply zone here. Personally, by me looking at that, I would be paying attention to if you go long down these lower levels, take profit around that 89 period moving average as well as this 100-day period moving average here. It's important to be paying attention to, especially if, like I always tell everybody, take your profit. Take your profit. We don't know the manipulation that is going to be coming in. So be paying attention to and also understand cycle rotations within crypto. That's why I gave you guys that link yesterday or today called Doom something. Be paying attention to that. Start going through and becoming familiar with that information, because that's going to become very readily available, because the institutions need to figure out a way to be able to take profits as the market is moving forward without really, because again, not to say that they're fairly new, but it's going to just be a different type of trading for them, right? So they've got to figure certain things out. Obviously, from a fundamental standpoint, they will look at these certain things to sit there and say, okay, and a lot of these things are going to start getting put into mom and pop shop, a boutique institutions, not institutions, but like firms. And so they'll start to go in and set certain things up. So they're going to be looking for ways to actually, make sure that a portfolio is well balanced. So that's why I'm always saying, always look at those little things. Now let me go and finish off this here. So weekly supply right here. And then additionally to that, I'm going to bring up, I think you said as well, a king, what was it? Started with an L.
Was it near?
Yeah, no, there you go. Near. Yeah, it was near. Not, I don't know why I was thinking. Yeah, it was near. So actually, I apologize. Let me jump back here real quick to Gala here so I can finish up the daily here. So on that daily chart, I'll jump back here. It is It's looking fairly bearish because we are sitting there and we are tapping off of that 8 period moving average, as you can see here. But you can see here that the next part down in these levels is you have a lot of demand. But after this period here on that daily, if we do sell through, the next part is the low on near here. So near here, that's funny. So you could see like
On
this is an
Gala.
area. Yeah, thank you. On Gala. So this is something that I'm paying attention to. We did bounce up that the 89 period moving average. But as you can see, that 8 period. So you have your 89 where we're ping ponging here. And actually, the first day that we talked, right? Do you remember how I said we're ping ponging? You're like, just give me a direct.
Right.
This is actually the same scenario in which we're actually playing off of, right? And so it's the same. It's a similar scenario. So be paying attention to that 8 period moving average. If we come back up and we pierce that 8 period moving average and we close with volume, i.e. something that looks like this, where like you see them push up and then this one closes with volume in comparative to the previous volume, most likely it's going to continue, come back, and then push up. So that's what I'm looking for this 8 period moving average. We have an increase of seller pressure, but in the same sense, you're also seeing that, you know what, there are some good demand zones that we're coming down to. This is kind of similar to Shiba Inu in relationship to the chart. Now let's go check out near here real quick because I know that you guys want to check that out as well. Where is near? All right. Here, this looks like the chart for Bitcoin. So it's very clean. You see that they're playing. I do like this aspect of that you actually have, even though it's kind of consolidating here, we're seeing a drop off in volume, even though you have, so to me, that's basically an indication of, look, you have people kind of sitting back and waiting and building a position right here. They're slowing down. They're not trying to push this mark here. So potentially this could go up to 624, which is the upper part of this zone, to 611 or 611, $6.11. The lower level here, and again, like if we go to the month, you'll see what I'm saying. This lower level here, we actually have that pointed up 8 period moving average. To me, this indicates that if it does come back down to this lower level, which is the $1 mark, $1.50, $1.75 area here, that $2 mark area, this potentially could be an area of support. Before that, if we come back and we hit the 20 period moving average on that monthly, it could hit that $2 or 230 here. So you could see a ping pong action potentially coming into play here. But overall, this is a decent play. When I look at the actual like long-term growth of this, I mean, this thing can get up to $20, right? And you buying it for $6, it could be a 3x, 4x at least. And if this thing gets, get some funding and running even more, what up, puppy? Keep it gangsta. We could definitely see this even go even further, right? Because as we all know, crypto likes to shoot up and then come back down and then find some settling at that $20 mark. So making sure that you guys are paying attention to that. Any other questions you guys want me to look at or charting I'm going to pull up? Drop it in there. And while I'm giving explanation on charting, please give me what you guys would like so I can just jump right from to another. No worries, Mikey. It's all sweet, dude, sweet. Anyways, shows you. I always think about also with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, dude. Excellent. So, as you can see, so that's what I see here. Any questions?
What is that chart that you have up right now?
Oh, that was BNB.
Oh no, the one before that went to 0.
Oh, BNB.
Oh, that one you have up right there.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. BNB hedge. I do not know who these guys are. I must have been looking. Oh, that's what it was. This is BNB.
Oh, the shorts.
Shorts. I forgot. Yeah, I remember this. Yes, because I actually wanted to buy some of this.
Pitmonk, are you
When
aware of the Zen project? Would love to hear your thoughts on it. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. I'm trying to get Jack on the show. I actually got him to be a friend, or not a friend, a follower on Twitter, and we exchanged some messages on Twitter DM. And I said, look, Jack, your system is very big and complicated. It's hard for someone new to just jump into it and get it figured out. Why don't you come on the show and talk about it? And in the middle of the year, he said, "Okay, let's talk about it." But since then, he's just ignoring my stuff. So I need to get back at it and try and get him on the show to talk about it. But I would love to have Jack on my show to talk about it. He followed you yesterday. Did you go through? Not to doubt you, Pitt, but did you go through and make sure it was actually him? I get followed by 2 or 3 Caitlin Longs a week, and I'm like, I'm already a friend with her. Why is she following me again? Scammer. Always be wary about that on Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. Be careful there.
But post like a good example, Pitt. Like take our show from today and repost it and quote post it and tag Jack in it and say, "Hey Jack, should be on this show to talk about Zen," because they want to learn about it. And obviously he could send, there's a million YouTubers that could come on and talk about it. One of my friends, Wes, focuses on Zen for it and does a show about that. But the point is to have the man himself on and drive the engagement.
Quick question. This Zen right here, this is the one right here?
Zen's got, I don't know if it's I wouldn't be able to tell you if it's the right one or not. They have their own blockchain. They have the, what's the blockchain, Pitmonk? X1? X1 is their blockchain. Yeah, they started a X1 blockchain. There's a huge community. And then who is that group that started a layer 2 blockchain and called it X1? And then they said, we never even heard of you. X1, yes. About it, but they have I can't possibly explain it what it entails. It's on every chain. They have NFTs that give you rights to mint. They have other contracts that you mint, and then you can wait years to see if they're worth anything, and the price goes like up and then down, and then it's beyond my capability to just jump in it and to explain it what it is. And that's why I wanted Jack to come on here and give us a succinct thing. And I really haven't brought it up much yet, so we didn't have to just make up bad stuff about it. That's probably not it there, Pedro. It's a big thing. And the Zen token is they have all kinds of stuff. They have Zen on Pulse, they have Zen on this, they have Zen on that, they have all kinds of NFTs to mint that gives you the right to mint tokens. I can't possibly explain it.
Yeah, come on, man. I'd love to pick his brain on it. Theta, let's check out Theta. Theta is having that sell-off here I was talking about. We should see this baby come down to this 64 cent area here. Not looking bad. As we're coming down, we're not seeing a ton of sellers step in, which is a good sign, saying that, you know what, they're just keeping things even, potentially coming down lower. This is not a bad play again. We did hit our supply zone where we then did see a sell-off at these levels. I'm expecting us potentially, if we do see a sell-off within Bitcoin, to come down to this lower level of 64 cent area. So if you want to make sure that you guys put in a lemon order, however you do that, do whatever you can right up in these levels. Sometimes there's a flash crash where you can get in at these lower cool levels. Let's go ahead and pull up.
Yeah, quickly, Pitmonk. That's exactly right. The Zen token. Don't bother looking at the Zen token. That's just one thing. There's the value in the whole ecosystem is someday it's either going to be this massive thing, or it's just going to be another smoking pile of rubble. It all depends on how Jack takes this thing, and the community takes it. Like anything else, that's true. But exactly right there.
Yeah. Okay. When I look, who is this? I'm trying to think. Who is this right here? Trust Wallet. Oh yeah, that's what I've actually been paying attention to. That's why I always look at these guys. Trust Wallet. I feel like this is a token here that is just so undervalued. I mean, like legit. They are. I actually.
They're actually growing.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from where they were at 3 cents, and then their peak was literally $2.74. It is amazing.
80x. Oh. Ooh.
Yeah. Now they're sitting at a dollar. What is that? $1.13. So I think this is one of those ones because they're literally a cash machine. So the reality,
they're owned by Binance, right? Trust Wallet.
I do not.
Yeah, I think they are. Or they're owned by CZ. I don't know if the difference. I don't know if it's owned by CZ or owned by Binance, but.
Well, I thought so. I did some research on it. So let me just give me a second. Who owns Trust?
If anyone has any input on that, let us know.
Trust Wallet is joint hands with Binance, one of the largest and most reputable currency exchanges. In July
2018.
July of 2018, Binance acquisition of Trust Wallet aimed to improve user safety and other better services to its users. There you go. But it is a U.S. It's here's the other part. It's a U.S. Based company.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's like soon there'll be a Liechtenstein version of that of the Trust Wallet.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. I remember looking up because watch. Who owns and where's the domicile? And where is that?
On Facebook, a person by the name of Milkison, I can't say your last name, Rabuma, liked our video and commented and said, "Hey, good stuff. I appreciate it. Appreciate everyone that comes to us from the alternative platforms known as Facebook." Oh, and on that, everyone's saying you got to do TikTok business. People, you don't get monetized or anything like that, but it helps drive people. So I said, all right. So I opened up a TikTok account, business account. I learned about how to go live. Fairly simple. I need 1,000 followers. So in another couple of days, I'm going to put out a link saying, hey, here's our TikTok account. Go like it, forward it on to other people. And hopefully I'll come up with a short to put on it so you can actually have something to forward and like. Anyway, sorry about that, Pedro.
You know what we could do, and this is the other part, is you can go through and take snippets of prior shows where, before the market hit the supply zone or demand zones, right? And go here, before, after, before, after, before, after. And then
great point. This is what I'll do. Pedro called it. Tune in to DYOR Live.
Yeah, well, and then the other part is you could say, and we also called the news aspect behind this. Boom, this is what happened. We've talked about this. Now this happened. News-wise this, boom, this happened, right? You've done that multiple times now where you're like, yeah, we need to be paying attention. Then all of a sudden we see, it's almost like you've got the tea leaves yourself there where you're looking at where the market is going and how you're seeing things envelop.
Right.
Not envelop. Develop. I don't know why I said envelop. Develop in the current market. So, yeah, and forgive me, it's not in California. It's the headquarters is in Wyoming, Delaware. So, it's still a U.S.-based company for Trust Wallet. So I'm shocked that the institutions, or the U.S. government, hasn't tapped in, or maybe have they? And we just don't know it yet before we start to have somebody knocking on our door from the U.S. saying, hi, we went through and we got information from Trust Wallet, and these are your transactions. So these are just little things that I am, I'm just kind of paying attention to. Real quick, give me one moment. Where did it go? I don't know what happened there. Nope. There we are. Excuse me. All right, now let's jump here real quick, though. I do like I do like Trust Wallet. And with the latest news talking about Uniswap, right? And Uniswap getting in trouble based off of a leak and a mess up within their code, it's more or less one of those things that I'm kind of a little weary about, right? Especially with what's happening. So I think an opportunity to buy Uniswap here is a good time, because there was some news that was given out. This potentially could escalate and we could see a sell-off even more. So if we do see a sell-off, listen, again, Uniswap is a cash machine. So if we see a good sell-off on Uniswap, a good area here is the 555 area. Another part here is a 449 area, 450, and then the lower part of this, if I'm looking at, is literally the 363 area to the 338 area. Man, I remember this one. I remember putting this in. This was actually, I put this on my show last year. I remember hitting this. And I got notified, and I still was like, I'll get back to it. And I forgot. I was so mad at myself that I didn't buy it. Yeah, but it was one of those things. Like, I actually want to take some of those shows that I have on YouTube. And dude, you can do it yourself. Go through and just pull it, and then we can pull up the current chart and say, he called it here. This is what happened, right? If you guys don't know, I used to have a show that I used to run, and then I started getting these creeper dudes, like, just started private messaging me on Twitter and all this other stuff, saying like they were gonna hurt me. I was just like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, y'all are crazy. And some of the like guests that have come on talk about the weirdest of crap, and I'm just like, bro, I want none of this. So I basically kind of shut that down, and then later found Tom, and we built a great rapport. So, but Uniswap here, it does. It works, and it works well. So you can see here, like I said, these little junction areas. You can see, boom, right below here, right? Potential. Right below here, potential, right? It's pretty easy to see. This is a stair-step algorithm on the daily. So you can sit there and see that. Sand. That was the other thing I was talking about. This is a metaverse system. You can see here that we're still playing in between in these areas. We did not go down as far as I thought it was going to go, but we still have
I have no idea what Sand is.
Sand is a metaverse.
Like Decentraland, that type of thing?
Yeah, it's like a Decentraland. Yeah. I'm pretty positive because I was.
Oh, they trade the sand dollar. Oh, for you. I spent some time in Sanibel Island, Florida, with someone a long time ago, and all I saw went out in the water, and all you see is the asses of these very large people, because they're bent over at the waist, reaching into the water, searching for those sand dollars. And it's not.
You know what?
It's not a pretty sight.
There's nothing wrong with people who have nice booties.
It's not a nice.
If you've got a large booty, I appreciate you. I am a large booty man, and I think large booties should get as much love as small booties.
The problem is that when you're walking out in the water and you see all of the love all around you, and in ways you're not supposed to see it. Whew. Not good. Sandbox will be big one day. Pit Monk says. Pit Monk, you are invested in a lot of projects. One of these days, Pit's going to be like, "Hey, I just bought the biggest company in the world. I made a shit ton of everything."
Yeah.
Not boobies, like space. Yeah, no, not boobies.
It's like
160 plus.
I thought.
How do you track all that?
No, booties. Me or who?
When you said booty, he thought you said boobies.
Oh, excuse me, forgive me. Yeah, large booties, or gluteus maximus. I think, if you're working out and you got a nice little glute, hey, there you go, dude. Mad props, high five. I think it helps the front. If you see somebody who has a nice, nice glutes, and I don't know why am I talking about this. Anyways, let's jump back to the freaking dude. So Sand, and I thought it was, yeah. So it's a game-based digital world that basically creates in the metaverse. You can play games and stuff like that. It's a gaming system. I followed it. I'm at this point now where there's so much money in gaming that it's like if I start to see some big sell-offs here, I'm definitely looking to get in. For me, I'm looking at that 36-cent mark, as well as coming maybe back down to the lows here of that 28-cent mark. Even here at these lower levels, if we go below this lower level, that 46-ish area, potentially to get in, just based off the amount of volume where we see a sell-off. Now, if you look at this from a larger time frame, sand is very much this was based off of my old charting. Okay, so based off of that, the next real level here is right here where it was the previous lows that have now will become supply, and that's going to be 85 cent, right? We're sitting at 50 cents, so you could potentially get about a 50% push from here, or excuse me, like 80, that's 30 cents. That would be more than 50, yeah, about 50 plus percentage up. You can see here the next spot though from there is literally the $1.23. At this level here, you'll see some good selling off of these levels, because this is where it really picked up volume and sold off. And then after that, the next spot is really here at that not at $2. So if you're sitting at 50 cents, it's potentially a 4x from that level. So it's a nice little setup. And if you look at its all-time highs, it's potentially $8 there, $8.50. So sitting at 50 cents, if you get in around 50 cents around these lower levels, it's potentially getting a 16x from these levels here. And if not further, if you see it really take force. Again, the reason why I'm saying this is during cycle rotation within crypto, you're going to see money inflow and outflow on a weekly, bi-monthly process, maybe even monthly, because our bull market is such a short period. So that's why I'm telling you, be paying attention to these, so you can get yourself set up so that when it starts to pump and just skyrocket again, if the institutions really do want to get in and play this game, we're going to see some really good moves here. And then what are some of the ones that we normally keep up? I did CAS, I did Shiba. What else?
I think we covered all the basics here.
All right, cool. Doge is sitting at I just saw this here. Doge here is sitting at a pretty good sell-off. You could potentially come down to these lower levels here again, looking at this area, like, because all this area has been like literally, it's been traded through. So the only place that I really do see is down at this lower level of 6 cent mark for Doge, that potentially could hold, right, the next sell-off, and then see a rebound. The part that I like about it is that it hit our supply zone right here, and then we saw the sell-off come into these lower levels. So again, Doge community holding and with diamond hands right here are awesome. Don't feel bad. I own PLS and PLS.
Pulse, did you sacrifice also and sacrifice your money on that? Wah, wah, wah.
That's another guy who's going to spend some time in jail. So
sorry, Richard. We did a whole episode on Richard Hart, and I gathered up as much fake Louis Vuitton and Gucci stuff I could find with the and put it all on at once. It was hilarious.
That was funny. That was actually really good. It was actually a good play. It was actually really cool. But like ultimately, I'm looking at these charts right now. Everything's just based off what's going to happen with the ETF. What's the next ETF? Laws. There we go. ETF laws coming out with the SEC going to literally sit there and say, yes, we're going to do this and we're going to move forward. It all just depends on that. So everything's kind of going sideways here. People are taking profits and kind of waiting for what's going to happen. So be ready. I've given you guys some good plays out there. And yeah, that's about it. Also, if you guys could do me a favor, if you're still listening here and you're in the past, so right now you're listening to this a day later, if you could do us a favor, go back to YouTube, hit the like button on that, and hit some, make some comments on that, and we'll respond back to you saying, or just tag and say, hey Pedro, I heard this, boom, I'm going back and I'm on the a comment, and what's up, right? Whatever you want to do. Just the reason, whatever you want to say, as long as not like super racist, or just racist, but everything else is cool.
Right.
But yeah, in the same sense, just make sure that just helps us out, because if the algorithms are seeing, oh, people are going back and watching it as well, they'll sit there and put our stuff in our previous episodes that people like into what people want to watch. So it's again one of those things that I want to encourage those who are listening to us on the recording. All right, so that's about it. Oh, the other one, AVEX. AVEX is one that's selling off good. And AVEX is really Avalanche is a great system. It hit our zone here, and now we're seeing that good sell-off. So for me, I would look at AVEX at $22 if it does do a pretty good sell-off. I don't think that 50 period moving average is going to hold, but I do see how where we have a previous high here, and typically the market goes from previous high to previous high. So we it'll push through a previous high and come back down to a previous high. So this lower part of $22 is pretty good. And that's it in a nutshell.
Look at that chart.
That's a nice little chart, man. It went from $11 to 50, $50. So not bad at all. It's a little 5x right there.
Just a little 5x, no problem. Boom.
Just a little.
All right, well let's take a minute to look at our portfolio today. The market's kind of consolidating here. Bitcoin's at 43,000 bucks. You can see it over my head here. I don't know if you can see it over my head here. Yes, you can see it over my head here. Trying a few other things out with the Fun Studio here. Hold on, let's where am I here? Middle. Let's go to the center TV and turn that off. Turn Pedro off. There we go. But so we didn't get one of the things I wanted to do today, but we didn't really get to it. Was to take some more of our hard-earned cash monies that we have stolen from you guys and invest it in another project. But Pedro and I will be on the air again next week, and Monday. Hopefully, we'll have some other things that you guys should suggest that we should buy, because we don't just want to buy it to learn about the market. We want to buy it so we can heckle you when it goes bad.
That's pretty much. And again, I am not telling, if I would, right now we would not be in anything. If I would wait for a sell-off.
I think you're right. There's definitely gonna be a sell-off, and hopefully we'll sell before that. We'll dump our positions, go to cash, or go short, or something like that. We'll do that. We just need input from the crowd, and so you'll start seeing some social media tweets, or posts from me and stuff like that. Buy $5 of mainnet. We'll get stinking rich, huh? Buy some integrity coin, before the 10th. All right. Well, hold on. Can we do that on CoinMarketCap? Because we're using CoinMarketCap. Can we buy integrity and mainnets?
I like it.
Let's see. Let me go find it here. CoinMarketCap. Let me bring up the screen again here. God, this takes me so long to do without my Stream Deck. I'm gonna have to get another one of these things and stop schlepping them around the world. All right, so integrity coin. What is that? That's TEG, right?
Yeah. Actually, I do not know.
TEG. Integrity. Space Cat. Let us know if this is the right one here on the screen here. Trading at 83 cents.
I don't think it is. That's Matic.
Matic?
Yeah, it's Matic. Give me a second. I'm waiting for it. So, PEG, P. Give me 1 second. What was it called again? PEG?
No, integrity. Teg, T-E-G.
And T-E-G. USD. USD. The fact that it has shorts and longs. Oh, that's for, okay, I like that. I like it. Whenever it's willing to give that. So TEG, I don't have TEG here. Let me go ahead.
Space Cat, give us some guidance on that. Hold on, I'm gonna go see if I can do main nets. That's oh wait, Space Cat, main nets is a layer 1, not a token. All right, well, how am I supposed to invest in that then?
Where are we at?
What is it? Nets. Main nets. Right. I'm sorry. I correct myself there. Nets. Pitmonk. Let us know if we've got the right one here. Netsy trading at 9 cents right now. I will gladly buy some. Hey, good thing I didn't buy it the other day. We've been losing money.
What was it? There was. I always forget this. I have it in my head. Like I see the exchange or the platform for the exchange. It's Dex, not Dex Tools. Dex. There's another one that has. I can't remember what it is.
Guys, what's the other one for? It's not Dex Tools. It's Dex. Dex Chart. Dex. What's the other one?
Yeah.
I have a mental block on that too. All right, so
train challenge.
Let's add.
Boom, and it's gonna be TEG, USD.
Dex Screener.
There you go, Dex Screener. Here we are, Dex. Here we are, boom, Dex. Oh wow, this is new. Oh, okay, good. So DX USD.
All right, we just bought $1,000 worth of nets, and now we'll go back to. I don't think integrity is on coin.
That's nets.
Yeah, net. We are not invading Ukraine, and yet.
And yet. Yeah, we are the knights.
All right, well,
who go,
Space Cat will pay
"Nyet."
attention to integrity. Let us know about that. Oh, I have to. I forgot I have to sell $1,000 worth of
Nets.
USDT. Sell 1,000.
We are the knights who go knee.
The knights who go. We are the knights who say knee, knee, knee. No, you're touching my ears! Oh my God, no!
No. Dude, that's awesome, dude. If I'm definitely aging myself here, but it's all about that. That's funny. That's hilarious.
All right, Pitmonk. Yeah, we if we're all stinking rich next week, because paper stinking rich next week, then good. If not, I'm gonna make a sound effect with the Jim Carrey doing the loser. And we'll put your avatar in it. We don't understand it. This guy makes fun of his viewers, and there are thousands of people watching him.
We're having fun. It's
yeah,
fun.
right. Having fun.
One day we actually might get canceled, bro, because we make fun of and vice versa, right? Like we're having a good time. So it's, I don't know. They might be like, you guys are harsh. You can't do that. We're gonna cancel you.
Bring it on. You know what? All news is good news. I mean, in this type of stuff, if they bring bad news to us, then that's like Alex Jones. Then and people are like, "Who's this controversial guy? I better watch him." All right, let's talk about our show today for a little bit, if we may. This was one of our best shows ever, and a screen that I can't put up right now because it's on a different thing right now, but it's our YouTube. Revenue viewer activity, and we had 3 super chat donations. 3, not 1, not 2, but 3. From 2 people, but we'll say 3 super chat donations for a total of $10. and that is infinity more than we've ever had before. Divide by 0 error. That's more than we've ever had before. Thank you so much for that. We cannot tell you how much that helps out the cause. Helps out the cause for A, confidence, strokes Pedro and I's ego. I mean, it just pump the head up. Absolutely.
$10, baby.
Right, 10 whole dollars. Maybe you buy me a pint of beer here in Canada, but I guess that's American dollar, so it'll get me $13.50 here.
I will yell at you if you put that money into a bear. You better put that money into the algorithm.
It's definitely going into the algorithm. But anyway, and we had on our live stream just on YouTube today, we had over 32 views. With 8 people at once watching, being I'm sorry, yesterday was 10. Yesterday was 10. We had 8 people at once doing it. Average view of 37 minutes a person, which is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome for you guys. And we had people tune in on Twitch and Kick and on Facebook and on LinkedIn. And on 2 of those platforms, we migrated them over to YouTube to help with the conversation there. And that, as we say, every show is about engagement on this, and we're not shy to say that we're shilling ourselves here. We don't shill tokens, talk about them, but we're shilling ourselves because we're trying to build a brand in order for Pedro and I to make a little coin here. Got to be honest about it, right? Obviously, we like the interaction. I love being on camera and talking to people, stuff like that. Pedro loves doing the same thing about bringing his knowledge to the people and all that. But ultimately, this is a marketing effort, and we want to market ourselves, and we want sponsors to come in and say, I want to be on that show. So if you're a sponsor or a broker for a sponsor and see our growth starting to kick off, you want to get in early and sponsor a part of the show, a segment, or take over, sponsor us to do something else. I'll walk down the street partially naked with your logo on my thing, if you want.
Yo.
Okay, I might not have just said that publicly, but I have my conditions, and I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But if you want to sponsor our show for any reason, just reach out to us, and we'll be glad to take your money. But anyway, like I said, we're a growing thing here. We're getting the word out. Thanks to Chuck Jansen for really putting in a little effort to share and get the word out. And thanks to everyone else that tunes in regularly, comments, and all that. Pedro and I really appreciate it. Pedro, any last things before we go here?
No, listen, man, it's a jungle out here right now in crypto jungle. So y'all need to be safe and make sure to buy low and sell high. All right?
Buy low and sell high. All right, everybody. We'll be with you again on Monday of next week. We'll put a show schedule out. Pay attention to us on social media, because I'm going to try, as much as Mrs. Striking wants to do family, husband and wife things over the weekend, I'm going to try and do that, but I'm also going to try and get a little social media out to continue the engagement. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it all. Pedro, have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday.